Hello. Welcome to day 56 of 99 days of Deeper Embodiment. My name is Jason King. I'm just going to wait for a moment here for others to join. So if you are here with me watching this on replay, then just take a moment to really feel deeply into the space and into yourself, feeling your heart, feeling presence within your body, feeling and being present here and now, feeling all the sensations as they are, without having to change anything at all. Noticing any thoughts and just dropping deeper into the space, deeper into yourself, and using this as an opportunity to really be with yourself here and now. If you are joining in the live stream, then feel free to comment. Let me know that you're here with me. I love to interact with whoever's here watching live. And you commenting is the only way that I know that you're here with me. So continuing to just pause and be present here and now. Really taking the opportunity to get present. Hi, Maxwell. Nice to see you. I see you're following me on YouTube. Wonderful. I'm glad that you found it. Awesome. So this time, I'm actually broadcasting in the evening on Mountain Time. So it's about almost 10 o'clock here, not quite, which is a new time for me. Usually I do this broadcast around 11 a.m. Mountain. But today it felt fun to change it up a bit and to do it in the evening. And I guess that's going to give some other people an opportunity to watch it live that usually might not tune in. Because I know that, hours of the day, especially when we're talking about live streams which go worldwide, then everyone's in a different time zone. So it's kind of like one of those things, like, where do I hit you in the time zone? So yeah, cool. If you are tuning in, leave me a comment. It's really awesome to see who's with me here. So I had a beautiful response from someone who's been following along on the 99 days yesterday. She wrote me, she's from Italy. So I just wanted to mention that I did get your letter or your message on Messenger, and it really touched my heart. So thank you for writing me. I will write you back when I have the chance to really sit with it and feel into the response, because I don't really like responding off the cuff unless it's something that's really pulling my attention, where that's what wants to show up. So usually I will take my time and I will write what wants to come directly from being fully present with it. And I just wanted to say thank you for writing. So anyone who would like to write me, anyone who wants to comment, anyone who feels that urge or that pull, feel free. Don't feel limited in any way at all when that comes up. Um, there's nothing special in what I'm doing here. I'm simply really speaking from the heart and speaking from my experience, my direct experience. So that doesn't make me different or special in any way. So I hope that it feels that I'm approachable. And I know people that have been following me for some time, they do write me on a regular basis, and I've always been approachable and always been available. And I always make myself available because that's really It's really important to me to guide in a way that is approachable, that is real. Setting up a dynamic where there's someone who is special, there's someone who's different, there's someone who is apart from, there's someone who we can't touch or see. This is a dynamic that I've had with some of my teachers in the past, and I find that myself personally at this point, I don't need that dynamic. That dynamic doesn't really excite me. It's not a fun dynamic to have. It's one that actually feels quite heavy because I'm projecting something that's very different from myself. And so at a certain point in my path, it was useful to have that. It was useful to see others that were um, supposedly much more advanced than I am. I know I had a Tibetan teacher. His name was Namgai Norbu. He has since passed. Um, but when I did have him, he was unapproachable. I mean, the only way that you could approach him as just a person off the street was if you went to one of his retreats. And then even going to one of his retreats, the hour around him, the way that he was holding himself was that only the inner circle could approach him. I mean, yes, in a retreat, I could go up to him and speak to him and get direct practices from him as a Tibetan Lama. But it wasn't something that was really an approachable teacher. He wasn't someone that was really guiding me or giving me direct advice. However, it was very useful at the time to have this sort of um, teacher who sits on a pedestal type of dynamic in my path. So I can't say that this dynamic isn't something that is helpful when it shows up. And it did show up for me during that time. And I did integrate a lot through that relationship, but it has evolved for me. And it has evolved to a point where I don't feel that that sort of separation between teacher and student is necessary. Not in the same way. I find that the most progress is made when there is consistent interaction, when there is the opportunity to get to know each other. And as we get to know each other, then the ideas of separation come up, they're highlighted, and they begin to dissolve all on their own. So anywhere that you may be seeing me as something separate from you, that dissolves through relationship. It's highlighted and it begins to dissolve through consistent relationship, which at first can feel a bit scary. It can feel scary to be vulnerable. It can feel scary to allow ourselves to be in a situation where there is someone that knows us very intimately, where we share of ourselves so openly that there are no more secrets. That whatever wants to hide immediately is seen and recognized and shared in an open space, in an open way. You see, this is what I feel is very productive embodiment, where we can develop relationships where we have the freedom and the openness to be ourselves to the degree that there's nothing that can come up that cannot be shared. I call this the base of love. The base of love is unconditional. It says that no matter what, there's always love here. And if there's always love here, there's always acceptance here. So there's nothing that can come up that cannot be shared. There's nothing that can come up that would be rejected. And so when we have that base of love, when we have that foundation in relationships, and that could be a relationship with me as a guide, as a someone that is really directing by holding up a reflection, by allowing myself to be a mirror for whatever it is there, for whatever is there. It can be a relationship with someone like me, or it can be a relationship with anyone. It doesn't matter. As long as the foundation of love is there, as long as the foundation that says there's always love here, it is unconditional, it is ever present, and there's never ever rejection. Anything that arises can be felt and met, no matter what it is. So no matter who the relationship is with, as long as that is the foundation, then it is a relationship that's very useful for embodiment, for going deeper. My feeling is that at this point in time, it is challenging to evolve alone. It is challenging to go deeper and to embody deeper by yourself, because there's a lot of deception within the mind. There's a lot of shame, and there's a lot of places that the mind does not want to be seen. The ideas don't want to be seen. They don't want to be held or recognized. And so in relationship is where we can begin to become honest, begin to allow ourselves to blossom, to flourish, to be ourselves. The more I can hold a space of unconditional acceptance and unconditional love for others, for whatever comes up for them, the more I'm holding that space for myself and whatever comes up within me. You see, whatever is coming up in others is simply reflecting for me the ideas that I'm holding within myself about that. And so it's always about giving more room to what is here and now, to dropping deeper into presence in the now moment, to being more present with what is here now. Now, this can be challenging when what is arising is ideas that are very aggressive, and that don't have any interest in evolution or deeper embodiment. There's no interest in going deeper or being honest or any any degree of desire or pull towards honesty. And so if these are the types of relationships that are showing up for you, where everything is a reflection of deception that is very dismissive and very aggressive, that does not want to go into feeling, that is resistant and avoiding feeling, then it can be helpful to recognize that that type of relationship is not useful. It is not productive. It is not something that is a two-way evolution. And so, what is happening there is that there is a lot of resistance to what is showing up. So, for example, if my mother is very, very angry and there's a lot of resentment that I feel in her, and that shows up in a way that feels aggressive and that feels as if it's always trying to manipulate or change my behavior, and it's never actually willing to show up in a way that is authentic or honest, then there's two things to feel here. One is my own resentment toward my mother, and two is the idea that relationships that actually are authentic and honest are not possible for me. So there can be some avoidance of moving into relationships where there is genuine honesty and genuine authenticity and a genuine desire to go into the feeling. So my experience is in when this comes up, that first I've had to recognize, oh, well, it's not going to go any further with my mother. Changing my mother is not the way to be fully present with this. Let me just love my mother exactly where she is. Wonderful. Okay, so I feel that. And then two, let me shift my focus into relationships that are actually helping me go deeper into myself, that are actually giving me an authentic mirror where they're meeting me in authenticity and they're willing to go into the feeling with me rather than avoidance. So shifting the focus away from feeling and being the victim when it has to do with my mother, and just allowing her to be what she is without the need to change or tweak her in any way, towards relationships that actually serve me and my own deeper embodiment. Now, obviously, it can be impossible to do this if I want to continue to change my mother. So if all of my focus is going towards the idea that my mother just isn't there for me, she doesn't give me enough love, she can't meet me, she's a narcissist or whatever, then I'm stuck in that loop. And I'm wanting to be the victim, you see. So there's a part of me that is enjoying that enjoys that dynamic and is really continuing to engage with it, continuing to energize it. When I'm exhausted with that game, and I don't want to play that game anymore, it's wore itself out, then I can just allow that mother wound to be there. Okay, it's there, wonderful. Wonderful. I'm not going to change my mom. Let me just accept that. Now let me move into a different way of seeing this. And I can begin to see that that entire dynamic is allowing me to go into, in a deeper way, forgiving all parts of myself that don't know how to touch feeling, that don't know how to be present with what is being felt, that are avoiding feeling. So every time I reach out and try to change my mother in this dynamic, try to shift her behavior, try to make her grow, try to make her see me, then what I'm actually doing is resisting feeling what is showing up for me. Because the outward movement is coming from reacting to sensations that I am feeling. The push to blame somebody else, the push to use my mother a as a mirror for what is here, that push is showing me that there's sensations here, there's very strong sensations that are difficult for me to feel through. So this brings up the second point, which was find relationships, begin to open up the potentials that bring relationships where there is an authentic guiding towards feeling. Dropping the projection and moving into feeling. What is the projection in this scenario? The projection is that I have a mother that cannot see me, that cannot recognize me, and that is always seeing me as someone that is less than. I have a mother who's always angry at me. That's the projection, you see? So I am projecting that because I'm feeling very strong sensations. So dropping the projection fully and completely is recognizing that my mother is not responsible for what I'm feeling. And so if I'm feeling strong sensations, those are mine. And so can I move into those sensations and be with them fully and completely? Okay, wonderful. Now this is moving into authenticity. There's true vulnerability here. There's a recognition that, yes, this is what I'm feeling, and it doesn't have anything to do with my mother. And if I want to move out further, I can feel what my mother's feeling too. And that doesn't have anything to do with me. She can feel what she's feeling. She can have those ideas if she wants to. They're not mine. I don't need to own them. I'm not responsible for them. And if she doesn't want to go into them, she doesn't want to feel them, she doesn't want to evolve with me, then okay, wonderful, that's fine too. So let me move or shift my focus towards relationships where there is a two-way evolution happening, where there is authenticity and honesty on both sides. And as I move deeper within myself and as I embody deeper within myself, then this will begin to push through all of that resistance that is showing up towards my mother. And eventually, my mother may or may not be able to feel me and recognize me as I am. It doesn't matter though. Because whatever that is that's pulling for or needing mom to recognize me as something more than what she's seeing, that gets met fully. And when it gets met fully, then the need to have mom's approval, that dissolves. I don't need that anymore because I feel it within myself. I feel my wholeness and completeness within me. I am that. So I welcome interaction. I welcome um, comments because I find that this is how we evolve. This is how we move deeper. However, if there is a fear that arises in you when I say that I welcome comments, or I welcome interaction, I welcome you writing me or asking me for a session or anything that may feel fun and exciting. If there is a fear that arises when I offer this, then see that. See that fear. Recognize it. Because what is it that that fear is saying? What I'm offering is a space of unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. And so if there is a fear that arises, then look at it. What does it say? Get curious. Be curious about that fear. See it. Does it say that you're not worthy? Does it say that there's something to hide from? Does it project an image of me as something that is different or separate than you? See that. Recognize that. Because meeting that is how we embody. Thank you very much for tuning in with me this evening, or this morning if it's morning for you where you're at. Please leave me a comment and let me know how you like this time as opposed to the earlier time that I've been doing. If you like this time better or not, or how this works for you, and any sort of comment that you feel a pull to write, please leave it on the video or write me personally. It doesn't matter. All comments are welcome. Thank you so much for joining me, and I love you so very much. I'll see you tomorrow.